Hey there, crafters! Welcome back to another Crafting Corner. I'm your host, Nick Zeller, and today we have a very special crafter with us. Meet knitter extraordinaire, Susan Carnegie.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Let's get right into the questions. I have them written down here.
Okay.
So, how long have you been knitting for?
Well, I've been knitting for 38 years when I learned when I was in college, so please do not do the math.
Basically longer than I've been alive. So.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Nick.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So, what made you first start this whole knitting?
Well, as I said, I was in college, and a woman that I met there was knitting beautiful Icelandic sweaters. I went to college in Connecticut, which it's cold, and I thought, well, gee, that's really kind of interesting. I'd like to try that. So she taught me how to knit, and the first thing that I did knit was an Icelandic sweater. I have no cause to wear it now, but I still do have it.
Especially out here in...
Southern California.
Oh, yes. So you participate in craft fairs. So what does that entail here?
Okay. Well, I make a lot of things for my Etsy shop that really transfer well over to a craft fair. So a lot of the things I make, my tagline for my Etsy shop is hand knit home goods. So a lot of things are for the home, and they transfer very well to the craft fair. So I basically just take my items, set them up on a table, and have people come and take a look at them.
And that makes you how much?
Not very much.
Of course.
In fact, I think if I were to say how much yarn I use and my time, I probably am paying to be there.
I mean, of course, it's all about the knitting and not about the money.
That's true.
But we all do wish that we could be millionaires on our craft.
Oh, yes, yes, I do. Especially with a last name like Carnegie.
Oh, yes. So how long have you been doing the craft fairs for?
My Etsy shop I started about 5 years ago, and the craft fairs were kind of a natural offshoot that I've been doing for the last 3 years at our church. The way that it works is you give them money and they allow you to set up a table. I always think of the money as a donation to the organization because I rarely make more than what I paid for the table.
So what makes you love the knitting so much? Well,
what I find with knitting is it's very soothing. And when I'm nervous or concerned about something, if I just sit and knit a little, it's got a real good flow to it. So I really do enjoy that. The other thing that I enjoy is, I have something after I'm done that I can use and show. And something that I've been doing recently, since I'm not working anymore, I'm a selfish knitter. I knit for myself now. And as I travel to different areas, I get different yarns from different areas. So, then I can make something and remember that particular vacation or that particular travel.
Is there like different kinds of yarns in different kinds of parts of the state or parts of the country?
Different parts of the country. There's different, usually what I look for is people who are the local dyers or even the local spinners. I haven't found any of that yet, but I'm sure I will.
So any big projects you're knitting?
Well, as I said, I'm a selfish knitter now. So what I've been doing now is looking for projects that have some interesting kind of technique. And the most recent one is a sock that I've been knitting that's kind of curved. I have it if you'd like to see. Okay, you can see that this is the sock, and it's curved. So normally, a sock you knit from the toe or the ankle, but this is from the toe. This one kind of starts here, so you're making wedges. It's just a very interesting technique to me.
Oh, nice. So, okay. So I'd love to see some of your other projects as well. So why don't we go over to the Crafting Corner?
Okay.
And check out some of them over there.
Okay.
I can already see some of them, and they all look very, very nice and cute, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. So as I mentioned, I like to knit a lot of home goods for my craft fairs and for my Etsy shop. So some of the popular things are beer bottle cozies, which you could also use for soda or water, but mostly beer. We've got the dish soap bottle dresses that you can use to actually wash your dishes and then rinse it out, wipe down the counters, rinse it out, put it back on the dish soap bottle, and it will dry off for the next time.
Nice.
And then my favorite thing is my cactuses, which are actually toilet paper cozies that you can put in your bathroom on the back of the toilet. And they just have extra toilet paper for people.
It's always very useful.
Yes, that is a very practical use of that. One of the other things that people really like are the knitted dishcloths. And what I brought today are just some samples of these dishcloths, and I thought I would show a demo of how to make one.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
because one thing I find for beginning knitters, they get very bored with just knitting. This will add a couple of new techniques that will help with future lace knitting, perhaps, something like this shawl here. The shawl doesn't use any other stitches than this does. It's just the way that you put them together.
Of course.
Okay? So what I thought I'd do is show, you can get the materials at any craft store. It's just kitchen cotton, they call it. So there's different kinds, different prints. There's different needles. There's the 14-inch, there's 10-inch, and then there's the circular, which is my favorite because it's just very convenient. And you don't have to worry about, if you're on a plane, knocking someone with your needles.
Oh yeah, because
Okay?
the 14-inch look very dangerous.
They do, they do. Strangely enough, the TSA does allow all knitting needles on the plane, but, okay?
The more you know.
Yes, yes. So this is really a very simple pattern, and what you do is you start from the beginning here, you make it very, very wide, then you taper it down to the end here. So it's basically knit on the diagonal. So we're going to start with only 3 stitches. So we're going to cast on using a long tail cast on. Okay. Slingshot, and then we just do 1, 2, and 3. And the way that this pattern works is every other row is just a knit row. Okay. So I'm going to quickly do a knit row here. Okay. And then our next row that we're going to be doing is when we begin the increasing. Okay. So we'll turn our work, and we'll knit 1, and then in the next stitch we're going to do what's called a knit front and back, and that makes 2 stitches out of the 1 in the center here. So knit front and back. Okay, and then we'll knit that last stitch, and again every other row is knit, so we'll knit this one, and then we're going to begin putting our eyelets in. And that is, as you see on the shawl, where there's little holes, that's usually what's called a yarn over, okay? So what we'll do here is we'll put a yarn over right in the middle. So knit 2 stitches, we yarn over, which is basically just taking the yarn and putting it in the back by wrapping it over the needle. Okay, and we knit another 2. Okay, and then our next row is, as always, a knit row.
A knit row,
right?
yes.
Yes, okay. So we're gonna knit. And then when we get to that yarn over, it's going to look a little bit funny on the needle, but you just knit it as usual. Okay?
It'll look better on when it's fully finished.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay? So then we've got our first eyelet done. All right, so we knit that row. Now our next one, and this starts what the pattern is. Okay? We're going to knit 2. We're going to do a yarn over.
Of course.
And then in the center, we're going to knit here until there's 2 left on the left needle. Yarn over again, and knit 2.
All right. So that is unfortunately all the time we have for today.
All right. Okay.
But thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful. Very, very nice to meet you and see all these wonderful creations.
Thank you.
Where can our viewers find these creations?
Okay. On Etsy, I am at Carnegie Hall at Etsy.com.
Of course.
I'm also on Twitter and on Instagram as Carnegie Hall.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
All right, so thank you again for joining us today. That will be all the time we have for, this concludes Crafting Corner for this week. I hope all our crafters have learned a new craft or new technique. Be sure to check out Susan's creation at carnegiehall.com. If you liked anything you saw today, we'll see you next week on Crafting Corner.
All right. Okay. So why don't I show you?